Imagine if the biggest star in the world was hiding something terrifying behind his smile. A grown man spending his nights with children, building a playground just for them, and telling the world, "I'm just reliving the childhood that was stolen from me." But what if it wasn't that innocent? What if the world simply refused to believe the truth because it loved Michael Jackson too much? For years, people were divided into two camps. One camp saw an angel destroyed by the press. The other camp saw a man who used his fame to hide dark secrets. But the shocking thing is that despite all the accusations and all the investigations and all the raids, not a single piece of conclusive evidence emerged to incriminate him. So how could a man whose story seems so terrifying walk out innocent in the eyes of the law? Was he the victim of the biggest smear campaign in the history of art? Or was the truth always right in front of our eyes, but we just refused to see it? Today, we won't talk about music or dancing or the title King of Pop. Today, we'll delve into the case that made the whole world ask, who was Michael Jackson really? Imagine waking up one day to find yourself accused of a crime you didn't commit, simply because your lifestyle didn't sit well with your neighbors. Imagine having your family photos displayed to millions, not to be understood, but to be distorted and have the truth painted with the brush of malicious suspicion. And what's even more terrifying, having your body put on trial and your grave exhumed more than 16 years after your death, leaving you powerless to defend yourself, while the very same executioners who once swore before a judge that you were as innocent as the wolf was of Joseph's blood. This isn't a scene from a dark dystopian novel. It's the enduring legacy of Michael Jackson, a man whom the media transformed from a musical genius who changed the face of humanity into a scapegoat for a bizarre international court, a court that disregards documents and the law, contenting itself with a mere strange and uncomfortable feeling. Let's face the truth. Yes, the atmosphere surrounding Michael Jackson's life was strange, and the image portrayed by the media was never clear. But when has strangeness ever been admissible evidence in court? What's happening with the handling of Jackson's case is a complete case of selective targeting. This man owns a vast ranch called Neverland, a complete amusement park with swimming pools, flower gardens, trains, and endless green spaces teeming with life, running, and playing. But are these the images they present to you? They deliberately choose carefully cropped shots, blurred angles, showing Jackson holding a child's shoulder or leaning over to talk to him, creating a sense of unease in the viewer and reinforcing the idea of guilt through mere feeling, compensates for the complete absence of real evidence. They're selling you a feeling of suspicion because they simply don't have any document to incriminate the man. The media narrative always tries to portray Jackson as a lone wolf who isolates his victims in closed rooms. But reason and the geographical logic of the place completely dismantle this myth. Neverland Ranch was a hive of activity. The parents of the accused children lived there in adjacent rooms with complete freedom of movement. In fact, the ranch was the Jackson family's stronghold. We're talking about a family where the parents raised 10 children, and Jackson alone had more than 30 nephews and nieces, all of whom were constantly present, along with his own children. How often did this man sit alone with a child? It was almost impossible, bordering on the criminally improbable. Dozens of children run around him daily, half of them his own flesh and blood, surrounded by a vast army of nannies and personal assistants, cleaners, servants, and cooks, professional bodyguards, adult friends who brought their families to enjoy the place. In such an exposed and crowded environment, how could a person, under the constant scrutiny of his personal security and staff, slip away and engage in reprehensible behavior without being noticed or recorded by a nanny? It's the geography of the impossible, a reality that sentimentality ignores. The collapse of narratives and the allure of billions. When we step onto the dry ground of forensic evidence and the testimonies of accusations are subjected to scrutiny, Cinematic narratives crumble like houses of cards. The secret places and rooms where some claimed the reprehensible behavior took place were proven by the farm's engineering and architectural documents to have never existed on the dates mentioned in the allegations. The physical descriptions provided by the prosecutors in their testimonies bear no resemblance whatsoever to Jackson's actual physique. These same individuals testified in Jackson's favor and affirmed his innocence under oath when he was alive and capable of facing them. But after his death, the narrative shifted. What changed then? It's the whispers of parents in their children's ears, whispers of an untouchable fortune and of a departed star who will no longer defend his legacy. Greed for money and financial settlements has become the fuel for a blatant blackmail campaign, where accusations are made by those who know deep down they have no way of proving them, resorting instead to appealing to public sympathy and manipulating emotions. Some defend Michael Jackson not out of personal veneration or a reverence for his lifestyle, which many might find eccentric, but rather out of a commitment to the principle of truth itself. It is a resolute rejection of the politics of character assassination based on impressions, and a stand against the media's attempts to replace the strict rule of law with nebulous feelings manufactured in editing rooms. Michael Jackson lived his life under a spotlight that burned him more than it illuminated his art, and he died bearing the bitterness of a world that preferred sensational rumors to cold truth. Ultimately, this man's innocence will remain recorded in the annals of the courts and the law, while his condemnation will remain locked away within the walls of the insatiable court of rumors, thirsting for the blood of the innocent.